In a rare briefing from the Pentagon Monday morning, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
In his first remarks since the U.S. and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, a massive and coordinated missile attack on Iran. Secretary Hegseth claiming Iran has carried out attacks for decades in a one-sided war against America.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Iran's national security chief posting on X that, quote, Iran did not start this war, and warning the country, quote, unlike the United States, has prepared itself for a long war. A war that has already seen several hundred people killed in Iran, according to the Red Crescent Society. 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down by Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident, the U.S. says, and 4 U.S. troops based in Kuwait killed in Iran's response.
Sadly, there will likely be more.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, cautioning the U.S. war against Iran will not consist of a single overnight operation and delivering a clear message to anyone who might threaten the U.S.
Understand clearly, we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight, and we will prevail.
With the Iranian supreme leader dead, questions remain as to who will lead the country. In Washington, D.C., I'm Lee Waldman.
As we were driving to our location, there were 2 loud interceptions above us. We could see the interception. There were some cars on the road, not everybody taking this shelter-in-place warning at this point, but certainly a lot quieter than it ordinarily would be on a Monday morning. We have had no reports, though, of any injuries or any damage from falling debris at this point. Now, we've seen a similar situation in Doha this Monday morning as well in Qatar. They had a number of interceptions, which our team there was able to see, was able to film, showing again that there is no let-up in this retaliation from Iran. We are also hearing from Bahrain, from Kuwait, that they have had incoming missiles or drones this morning. So it is a very busy, very worrying Monday morning start to the week for many of these countries, although many countries, Monday is not their start of the week. But there is anger among the governments, the leaders of these Gulf nations, that they have been dragged into this war. There was a statement saying it is a reckless and destabilizing behavior from Iran.
War in the Middle East has intensified Monday, with more US-Israeli strikes in Tehran and attacks from Iran and Iranian-backed militias hitting Israel and Arab states. The conflict, which began Saturday with a massive US-Israeli attack on Tehran, has led to the death of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The 86-year-old supreme leader was killed in one of the first attacks. The country's president said a leadership council was working to choose a new ruler, while US President Donald Trump, speaking after the initial attack, urged Iranians to rise up against the ruling government.
Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach.
Iran quickly vowed retribution for the attacks and struck back with drones and missiles aimed at Israel and other sites around the Gulf where US forces are based. At least 11 people have been killed in Israel after the strikes, and at least 4 US service members have been killed in action, at least 3 in strikes on US bases in Arab Gulf nations. The conflict has since expanded to include militias backed by Iran in the Middle East and nearby Arab Gulf countries hosting US forces. The war has reverberated around the world, with demonstrations celebrating the death of the Ayatollah in some nations and protests condemning US-Israeli strikes in others. Some protests, like this one in Karachi, have been deadly. At least 22 people were killed after hundreds of people stormed the US consulate there. There has also been fallout from the fighting for the global economy, with the conflict sending oil prices soaring and stock prices falling. The Iranian Red Crescent said Monday that the US-Israeli airstrike campaign has killed at least 555 people in Iran, with 131 cities attacked.
celebration of life was held this afternoon at the Episcopal Church of the Nativity, where stories, music, and memories painted a picture of a man who lived and breathed his craft.
He had a talent that he learned probably from being a musician. He listened.
He was so versatile, he could play anything totally by ear.
Among the hundreds in attendance was former bandmate Rick Job, who says his first memory of Dave goes back to a chance meeting outside of his fret shop music store.
He had all his belongings in an old Ford station wagon, I think, including his Amazon parrot was in a cage on the front seat. So he came in the fret shop and he said, I'm moving out of town, but I always wanted to see this place.
Job says he was recruiting a trumpet player for his band Tuxedo Junction at the time, and the two ended up playing together for about a year and a half.
Then one day I heard his answer phone message, and it said, it was a blues, that he wrote, and I said, Dave, that's your calling, man, is blues, And so it wasn't long, he said, you talked me out of your band. And I said, what? And he said, I've started this band called Microwave Dave and the Nukes, and that's my new thing. And so the rest is history.
Dave's cousin, Todd Wayne, also shared memories from their childhood, saying Dave always saw the world a little differently.
We take him cookies, German chocolate cake cookies, nice cakey cookie with the frosting on top. And Dave decided that you needed to eat that cookie upside down to get the full enjoyment out of it. Yeah, he had a different way of looking at things.
From stages across the Tennessee Valley to classrooms filled with young musicians, Microwave Dave's impact stretched far beyond the blues, leaving a legacy rooted in education, curiosity, and heart. The Microwave Dave Music Education Foundation says more details about his graduation celebration will be announced early next week. Continuing the work and mission, Dave dedicated his.
We need to make sure we're defending the homeland by also funding what's happening here at home.
Often referred to as America's first line of defense against terrorism, the Department of Homeland Security remains unfunded as the Iran conflict escalates. On Friday, agency employees missed their first paycheck of a prolonged shutdown, with more to come this week if an agreement is not reached. Congressional Republicans now hoping the heightened threat from Iran will ramp up pressure on Democrats.
Who are Democrats siding with? Right? They are siding with our enemies. They are making us less safe. They are defunding Homeland Security, standing in the way of the president.
Democratic leadership say they've received a new counteroffer from the White House, which they are reviewing. But deep divisions remain, with immigration enforcement restrictions a key sticking point.
We believe immigration enforcement should be fair and just and humane. And until that changes, the DHS funding bill is not going to move forward.
Despite a lack of funding, DHS is beefing up security and warning of potential lone wolf and cyber attacks related to the ongoing conflict in Iran. Some experts now warning the department should also raise the threat level under the National Terrorism Advisory System.
See something, say something. You want the American people involved in their own security. When they're involved in their own safety and security, they're going to work closely with law enforcement.
And while negotiations are ongoing, the House is expected to vote on a new DHS funding bill at some point this week. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
President Trump put a 4-week timeline on it. Are you
Please.
saying that's wrong?
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned during the briefing, General Kane, that there would be additional troops sent to the region. Could you say how many troops currently are involved in this operation and how many additional troops are planned to go in this next phase?
I don't want to talk specifics because that would tip the enemy off. We have more tactical aviation flowing into theater just based on the time it took to get it out there. I think we're just about where we want to be in terms of total combat capacity and total combat power for Admiral Cooper.
I heard the question about 4 weeks. It's the typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up. It could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do. Well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things.
Daily Mail.
I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as he should exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders. And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle.
We love you, President Trump. We love you, President Trump. We love you.
Stocks on Wall Street selling off. Barron says the attack on Iran has led to a worst-case scenario for the oil market, closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil flows. A prolonged closure could send international prices over $100 a barrel. Though the strait isn't formally closed, insurers say they'll cancel policies for tankers going through it.
If this goes longer than 4 weeks, if the strait is shut down, that's where all of a sudden this will become more of a long-term issue. Right now, we think that it's a short-term spike.
Airlines and cruise stocks are among the worst hit. Carnival, Royal Caribbean, United Airlines, Delta, and American shares have been down. Missile strikes across the region are expected to disrupt travel, but Barron says the bigger concern is the rise in fuel prices for airlines and cruise companies. Meanwhile, investors bracing for a busy week of economic data. The February ADP report out Wednesday. Economists expecting 50,000 private sector jobs added. And all eyes on the February jobs report out on Friday. Economists expecting 55,000 jobs created, with the unemployment rate holding steady at 4.3%. CJ Papa, Fox News.
It's a natural process that just about every woman will go through. Menopause can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, loss of bladder control, fatigue, sleep disruptions, mood changes, and memory problems. And for a woman who also has multiple sclerosis, these symptoms can overlap.
It's really difficult for many patients and providers to parse out which symptoms are due to which process.
Dr. Elise Carlson, a neurologist with Cleveland Clinic, says lower estrogen at menopause may contribute to the wearing down of the nervous system and changes in immune responses. So for MS patients going through menopause, it can be a double whammy.
And these symptoms can kind of feed off of each other, right? So if we're not addressing these things from one end or the other, they can make the symptoms worse.
That's why Carlson says it's important to talk to a doctor about those symptoms, because if the ones associated with menopause aren't treated, it can worsen already existing MS symptoms.
If these things aren't addressed, it can cause a lot of problems for many women and be very disruptive to their daily function and quality of life.
Carlson says doctors can help figure out if it's menopause or MS to blame and discuss what treatments can help bring some relief. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
this year, the show got a little bit of a facelift. Like many people in this room can understand, we nipped the SAG.
SAG-AFTRA's annual awards had a new name but a familiar host in Kristen Bell and familiar gratitude for winners honored by their peers.
I love being an actor. I love actors. Working with you, playing with you, and when necessary, marching alongside of you has been the greatest joy of my life.
Honoree Noah Wiley returned to the stage with the cast of The Pit to accept the award for Best TV Drama Ensemble. Seth Rogen topped that, taking the podium 3 times as the studio won Best TV Comedy Ensemble, and he accepted individual honors for himself and the late Catherine O'Hara.
She really showed that you can be a genius and be kind, and one of those things does not have to come at the expense of the other.
Harrison Ford received a Life Achievement Award.
Thank you to SAG-AFTRA for honoring me with this prize. This is very encouraging.
I wasn't expecting this, but it does really mean a lot to me from my peers.
Film honorees included Amy Madigan for Weapons.
To work with my heart in my hand and stand beside my brilliant, daring friends who show me their heart. I mean, what a way to spend a life. Thank you.
Jessie Buckley for Hamnet.
This ride has been unbelievable, so thank you for welcoming me in and making me feel seen.
And Michael B. Jordan, who retook the stage with his Sinners cast to accept Best Motion Picture Ensemble.
From the bottom of our hearts to the bottom of your hearts, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I saw you outside. You were talking to a dancer on the street.
He is so talented. He's from Mexico. Maybe you could help him.
A socialite and an undocumented immigrant dancer engage in a torrid affair in Dreams.
I'm glad you're here. I want to take care of you.
The film reunites Jessica Chastain with writer-director Michel Franco.
This is the second project we've done together, and I just love the way he thinks, and I love the way he works, and it was nice to work on a character who was so different from Sylvia in memory, and so kind of thorny. It reminds me a lot of films that are made outside of the United States. The female characters can be quite thorny, which I love to play.
When he crosses the border illegally, he finds out that he's been kept secret from her life. So she has to deal with that. She has to, show her true colors, or to prove that she truly loves him. And that's when the things get very complicated for her.
Fernando, where are you? I'm worried.
What do you want?
Please come back.
I just don't want to be hiding all the time. Please, let me be.
I was really nervous at first. I wanted to first do justice to the script that Michel created for this film, for this story, and then justice to the story of so many people that go through experiences like that.
How did you find me? Déjalo en paz. I don't think you care what happens to me.
Bien, dile que por qué no se busca uno de su edad. I'll never abandon you.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Stop calling me.
You think you know me that well?
There's been a lot written and a lot said.
Time now for your look at sports. The Alabama A&M Bulldogs are gearing up for SWAC championships. The men battling for position. The women are battling for something even bigger. The Fly Swatters are out on the hill. The Alabama State Hornets visiting. Here is Rakaya Beal. Pass to Kamaya Griffin. Top of the key. Drives into the paint. Lays it up. Easy 2 points. Alabama A&M on top. Hornets with the ball. Not for long, though. Anaya Palmer gets the steal, and she's all alone. All the way to the basket. Heads-up turnover for the score. We move on to the second half. Here's Vanessa Wimberly. Gets it to Karaya Beck. Heavily guarded on the baseline. Last resort pass gets to Jada Belton. Dribbles in the paint. Puts it up. And it is good for the Bulldogs basket. And here's Dawn Thornton there being very loud. Belton long pass to Beck. Spin move. Drive. She's going to drive here. Dump off. Palmer charges in for the score. And all of a sudden, the event center's having some fun. Fourth quarter, long pass to Belton, gets it to Karayapek in the paint, and one, count it! Bulldogs, 15-game win streak, and for the first time, they have at least a share of the SWAC championship. They also clinched a 1 seed for the SWAC championship at Atlanta. Here's Don Thornton after a historic night on the Hill.
This has been a really great season for us, and just as far as everything that we went through in the preseason, when everything just didn't look like it was clicking. But just a testament to them just locking in and really and truly just focusing on the main thing, and the main thing is to win. And I've just been seeing a refuse to lose mentality every single day of practice. So I'm just really excited to celebrate this for them. We really want to win it solely, right out by ourselves. So we got 2 more wins to get 1 game at a time. So we'll just focus on the next win.
Archaeologists got a literal taste of the past when they used tools and tech to sample a 150-year-old mystery spirit inside a bottle unearthed from a buried mining town in Utah. According to the Utah State Historic Preservation Office, the bygone-era bottle of booze was one of thousands of artifacts unearthed during a construction project turned major excavation in the historic ghost town of Alta. Other found items include a leather mining hat, bullets, shot glasses, a 16-pound dumbbell, and much more. But it was the mystery bottle, still corked and dated to between 1870 and 1890, that proved most intriguing, and archaeologists teamed up with a local distillery using a needle to extract the vintage spirit so they could sample it. The question is, how did it taste?
Dried fruit notes. There's a little bit of vinegar to it, but surprisingly, I think it had held up after being in a bottle under the ground for 150 years.
Officials suspect it may have been some sort of sherry or beer and plan further tests to try and pin down this boozy blast from the past. Speaking of the past, Customs and Border Protection officials got a taste of the Bronze Age, not literally this time, when they intercepted an illegal shipment containing dozens of copper alloy short swords and arrowheads. A local archaeologist found they date back some 4,000 years. KYW reports the treasure trove was seized at the Philadelphia International Airport, is suspected to have been looted from burial sites in the Middle East, and may have been destined for sale on the black market. But now CBP says officers will safeguard the antiquities until next steps can be determined.
The truth is there's no value because they're illegal. When you loot cultural heritage out of the ground and take it away, you destroy the history of those nations.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
His hockey stick in hand, taking shots on his basement net. 8-year-old Xander O'Brien says you can't score goals without a good breakfast.
Like Lucky Charms.
What do you like about Lucky Charms?
The marshmallows.
The boxes keep on coming. Fruity Pebbles, Rice Crisps, Apple Jacks. How many do you think you got?
I think we need 300, but we have 196.
Last year, Xander collected a pretty good amount.
125.
But this year, it's a full-court cereal press.
We go to the store and buy some of them, like, at a time. And we wanted to get more as last time.
Xander's mom, Sarah O'Brien, realizes she's sneaking in a life lesson here.
You want your children to learn when they're younger that not everyone has what they have.
Enter the Bag Brigade. She discovered it a few years back and started packing bags on Tuesday nights for food insecure kids in the Bell Vernon School District. Then Xander and his little brother started tagging along too.
You know, when he feels okay in an environment, he thrives. And he loves to go there because he loves to pack bags because, number one, you get to walk in a circle, so it's like you're trick-or-treating.
Kathy Kelly welcomes volunteers of all ages. She co-founded the Bag Brigade 10 years ago out of the Gospel Alliance Church, and every year the need keeps growing.
When COVID hit, right after that, we really realized that we need to really be doing this year-round.
Now volunteers like the O'Briens pack bags for 242 little ones.
We started in one school, an elementary school with about 19, 20 bags, and that quickly grew to all 4 schools, including the high school. And during COVID, we packed almost in that first week, 900 bags.
A school year food program that grew to a lifeline for these kids.
Anything that is shelf sustainable, right? And something that the kids probably can fix themselves. We have kids in kindergarten who are living with grandma who really can't get up or is not mobile. How do we get that child to eat food?
And they're always in need of donations.
Mac and cheese cups, right? Peanut butter, soup, the ramen noodles, that's a great thing for them. Slim Jims, pudding cups, applesauce. You know, you think of anything that's just a single serving that a kid can just open the lid and eat it, that's what we're giving them.
And these big cereal boxes won't just keep kids fed during the summer weeks.
We only give single serving during the week, okay? But these big boxes, there's a reason for that. We do a domino drop.
That's right, a massive feat of physics that fills the school hallways with cheers.
And like I said, the videos don't do it justice because last year he got to tip the first box up at Ross Traver Elementary, and that's like a big to-do miss, super celebrity.
It's a life highlight for Xander.
Last time we did a dominoes that we pushed cereal all the way down. I was the one that I did.
You got to push the first one?
Yeah.
What was that like? Awesome.
Yeah.
So the more boxes, the better the domino drop. Xander's hoping to crush his goal of 300 boxes.
He's starting to, in his mind, for an 8-year-old, grasp like what he can do. Like, oh, if I can do this, well, there's really nothing else that I can't do.
Catching a late-night flight at LaGuardia these days must mean a free-for-all when it comes to how one dresses to fly. Jeans, sweatpants, pajamas?
I think you should be comfy. Unless you're going on a business trip, you should be comfy.
Like you.
Like me.
People could feel free to wear pajamas. I personally wouldn't wear it, though.
It may be okay at LGA, but not so much at TPA. Tampa International Airport began the buzz on Thursday when its official X account created an all-out war over what not to wear inside its terminals. The Post saying in part, quote, "We've seen enough. We've had enough. It's time to ban pajamas at Tampa International Airport. The madness stops today." The Post was tongue-in-cheek, and the airport doesn't want passengers taking it literally, but the great debate is on. What should you wear when you board that plane?
We used to dress up with skirts and heels, and everyone dressed up to go on a trip.
Yeah.
It's different times now.
In the good old Pan Am days, men flew in full suits while women put on their Sunday best. It's a different world today, with experts admitting most travelers choose comfort rather than being fashion-forward.
It's largely a reaction to the way they feel they're being treated on the aircraft themselves, and being pushed into small seats and middle seats and needing to find some degree of comfort while they travel. So I understand it.
When I'm sitting on an airplane, I don't want to be dressed up. I want to be comfy.
Well, it appears I'm dressed to fly circa 1960, minus the sneakers. But with no dress code to board a flight in the 21st century, might as well set the example for news reporters. Always wear a tie. At LaGuardia, Richard Giacovis, Fox 5 News.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pros, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
But I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.